Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, wherever you're tuning in from. This is the BS Buddies podcast. I'm your host, Joe. That is your host, Ian. We are a podcast that just BS about a lot of different topics. We've talked about our fear of needles and then followed it up with the tattoos that we have. And we've talked about if cybernetics belong in sports. So hit subscribe. We upload 2 full-length videos every week and a short every day.
We've got all kinds of goodies sprinkled in there throughout. I didn't realize you were going to transition into me for that. I'm just over here drinking my coffee, everybody. It's about 11:30 in the morning, which is not early at all. But we woke up in the morning to record these instead of in the evening like we usually do. So we're a bit more lively because I've got my caffeine in coffee form, and Joe's got his caffeine in whatever flavor form you've got today. I don't.
Hype sauce.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know what that is because I'm out of the loop. I'm an old man, so
That's fine.
here we are. Clink to you whether you're having a morning wake-up beverage or an afternoon juice or tea or maybe an evening beer if you're of age. So there you go. Happy you could join us on this wonderful day.
And today we are going to be creating a reality TV show. Ian
'Cause
has no idea the premise. So that's why I'm here.
Joe has got all of this all figured out. He is our executive producer. I am the artistic liberties guy who was basically given the budget and said, "Hey, make this funny or fancy or whatever." Joe's going to give me the layout and we're going to go from there. We're going to figure out what we can do to torture. Bring entertainment with the poor souls who we've contracted to be on our show.
So I don't have the layout. That's what we're here to figure out. And how
Well, together we're going through this together, right? You're the executive producer. You're pitching the idea. You give it the stamp of approval, right?
the idea. Band camp.
Oh God, I'm scared already. I'm scared already. All right, band camp. So what? How are we? How are we framing this band camp? In what sense? In what way?
So that's why I called you here today.
That's why you're in this room. I have a show name.
The premise is band people coming together.
Musicians on an island together. And what do they have to do? Is this like a competition show or is this more like a camera's glimpse into the real lives of musicians and
I
you
was
get
kind of
yourself a sitcom?
thinking of like the competition, like Survivor, like
All
you
right.
get voted off type of
So like,
reality.
so like the X Factor. Okay. All right. I'm here for it.
So that I need your help coming up with challenges and how the whole voting thing.
Gotcha. Well, let's start with location. Do we want this to be on an island, right? Like how they often do with their shows. They're like, oh, we brought 12 people from around the wherever to this island cabin, and they are going to stay here until, until that they can create. How should we do
An
this?
original piece?
They have to create an original piece, but not for their instrument, maybe? Not for the instrument that they are accustomed to. They have to make a piece for the next person. And if they do poorly at it or they don't manage to get it created in the way that is necessary, they get booted off. Something like that, maybe?
I also thought just now, what if it's people who don't know how to play an instrument? And the final challenge is you have to play a full piece by some composer with that instrument.
Okay.
Then,
So it's almost like people learning instruments too, and then they compete against each other until you get down to the final one winner who who can play it the best, the best.
And then I think like the challenges could be like, hey, like you need to like first challenge. It's like you need to learn hot cross buns.
All right, on the simplest. All right, I feel like. Oh, okay, okay. So what if we have right? Because some people have a natural talent for certain instruments, and they don't know until they try it. So what if we have the instruments change? Right, like let's say we'll start out with 12 people on an island, and they pick a random. Should we go by categories, or should we just go individual instruments for the people? Like if
I
we start out and we said woodwind, and we
hmm.
said like, okay, you have to start in the woodwind category, and then everybody, it's a different instrument within the woodwind category. Like here, let me be a smart guy real quick. Let me look up woodwind instruments.
I could tell you a lot of them: saxophone, clarinet, flute,
Is the oboe
oboe.
part of
Oboe would
the
be
oboe? I don't, I don't know why the oboe just came to mind, and I just like the name of the oboe because it's funny.
re- recorder. I
The
think
rec-
even the slide whistle would be considered a woodwind.
Dude, if somebody play a song on a slide whistle and make it sound good, that would be hilarious. Why does none of these websites ever give me an actual list of the woodwind? It's like diving into the history of the 15th century clarinet. I don't care. Just give me a list of woodwind instruments.
Then type that into Google.
I did, and it keeps trying to give me bassoon,
Yep,
bassoon,
bassoon.
bagpipes. No way. Flute and organ. And organ's considered a wind-powered keyboard.
Yeah,
Okay, now we're getting into things that I didn't know classifications.
piccolo, bass clarinets, if you're people like me.
All right,
The
all right.
dizzy.
Okay, okay. So maybe.
Maybe
Ooh.
see each season is a different area. So you
Okay.
start with the woodwinds, and then like season 2 is brass, season 3 is percussion.
Well, I was thinking of. Right. Okay. So you have your people who they go in, right? And I will say it's not necessarily genre by season, but it's genre by elimination. So you can, they'll be like, okay, everybody, the first category we're starting with is woodwind. You can pick whatever instrument you think you'd be able to play in woodwind, but once you've picked it, that's it. There's no changing. Now, you can pick the same instrument as somebody else. But if you do that, then that means you have to learn together as a group. So it's either you're both going to advance together or you're both going to get eliminated together. So, like, Joe, if you and I were like, oh, yeah, we got this recorder business down, we know how to play the recorder, and then we go through and I just suck horrifically at it, then we're both going down. And I'm sorry, Joe, but I took you with me.
Going back to that, would we both get voted out then?
Yes. So it would be because you have to play as a group, meaning like, if three people wanted to choose saxophone, then you better learn how to play the saxophones like either in unison or in harmony. Like you're still doing simple songs like Hot Cross Buns or maybe Ode to Joy, but they have to learn it together as a group, cohesive. You can't be like, I want to choose saxophone, but I just want to play it on my own. No, you and two other guys have saxophone. You have to play as a group with them. So it's either you're all, because, theoretically, your chances of advancing are better if you're in a group, because if you can all kind of semi play well together, then you'll cover up any individual mistakes you might make.
I
But if one of you is a bad player and outshines everybody else, then yeah, then you're all going down together.
I
That's
think
what the whole drama comes into play.
I think if you have a group of 3, there's only one person eliminated. But if you have a group of 2, you both can be. Otherwise, like if 3 people get eliminated, it's gonna be just a quick show.
We'll say in groups of 3 or more, if you receive a failing grade, the group must decide who's getting kicked.
Ooh,
Who was the worst one, just to really spice things up. You know
I
what I
like
mean?
that. I think
Groups of 3 or more.
I think one of the challenges as well should be like this week you're all getting the same instrument and it's going to be this, but it has been disassembled and you have to reassemble it and then play.
It's
And
not even music related. It's how well can you fit these pieces together.
and like they get instructions and the tools to do it, but like there's going to be some people who just can't do it and it sounds awful, and if they sound the worst, they're more
The
likely to get
instructions
voted
are in
off.
another language.
No.
Just because I feel like being cruel. Yes. I feel like that. Like you get pictures, but the instructions tells you what to do is in another language. So they can still kind of follow the pictures along, but can't read German. Sucks for you.
Ah.
Because see, and my idea was after each round, then they change. So we go from woodwind to brass. Then from brass, we go to percussion. And, as people get eliminated, you're getting smaller and smaller. And I do like your idea. Like, even if we had one where it's like, all right, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who remain, this week, everyone is getting the same instrument, but you have to put it back together.
Yeah,
Oh.
I think if there's like 10 episodes or so, it should be like woodwind, brass, percussion. And then like towards the end, like you have to show that you can play multiple instruments well for like the final round.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Like you have to each they take down a list of each of the instruments that you have played so far, and then when it gets to the end they're like, okay, now you have to go through all of these instruments in progressive difficulty in
Or
musical ability.
or you could do it, it's like all of the instruments you picked are no longer allowed for the final challenge. You need to pick 3 new instruments from each group, well, like one per group, and show that you can play them well enough.
Using the knowledge you've gained from the other instruments. Oh, now, okay. Sorry, I just thought of this as a sidetrack but related. For the people who get eliminated, do we want to have a redemption chance, sort of similar to like Impractical Jokers, where like they get put in a situation that is like
Oh,
almost crazy impossible, but if you pull it off, then you get to stay. Like, for example, you get eliminated from, we'll say, a brass comp, or they go
brass
through the brass
challenge.
instruments. Yeah, and then it's like, all right, well, since you've been eliminated, you must now act as the conductor for this symphony, this brass symphony. Their conductor is sick; he can't make it. So now you must go up there and you must conduct the orchestra. Here's your music book, and here's a suit tailored for you. Go up there and go do it. And if they can somehow manage to get through it with the symphony, like we'll say we'll give them like the musical booklet, right? It'll give them some very basic instructions. Like it'll have the music on the sheet laid out for them, but then it'll say in very plain terms right here, like, oh, trumpets come in here, but it doesn't tell you who or where trumpets are in your section. You just have to know, okay, at this point they start playing, and then you have to try and get it out. Now the French horns, and now the tubas. you have to try and pull this off,
And
and
if
like,
you can't, you are voted out for
yeah,
sure.
then you are done. And we'll say that's just one of many different challenges. Another one is you have to fill in for a cover band at like
Oh
this
my. Yeah,
at
like
like a jazz bar.
the final 4 or 5. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, you have some experience with all these instruments. You guys have to decide amongst yourselves who's playing what and go.
Yeah, or like if you get up to even later rounds and you get voted off, it'd be like, all right, well, since you failed the stringed instruments section, we have a jazz band whose bassist player is sick and they are performing at a cabaret club downtown tonight. You've got to go fill in for them. Just
If you
like
play well, you get to continue.
you get to
And
stay on the show.
I think for the winning, I think you should get $50,000
50
plus
grand.
you get a brand new instrument of your choice because those are like $5,000. So it's like,
Ooh,
oh, I love this instrument the most. It's like, here, like you get that for free. And I think if to go even further to make it more worth it, like you get to be like taught how to play it by a
you get
professional
private,
for a year.
yeah, get like professional tutoring lessons. Okay.
Yes.
Ooh, you know what? I will say, just because to have some variety of choice, right? So that it appeals to everybody. You get your 50 grand cash. We'll say that's the grand prize. And then you can either have the free instrument and the tutoring, or if like reach out to different like musicians and artists and see if they would want to sponsor the show. And then if the winner of the show gets to the end, they can choose between the instrument, or you get like 1 year all paid for tour with like a certain artist, like Taylor Swift. If you
Oh,
really, really love Taylor Swift, then for like her next tour going around,
I will
whatever,
say
then you
like
get like
tours
free
are only
tickets
like
and
2 months.
flight. Like, well, yeah, and that's the thing. It was like for that year, like even if it's international, you get like a paid for tour to like follow it around. You know what I mean? And you get to see like, oh, you'll stay 3 days here, you'll stay 4 nights there, and you'll get to basically go on like a little tour, and just get to see like different musicians. Sometimes it's maybe like a whole symphony group. Maybe sometimes it's one artist. It changes every season. But I feel like that would be cool to have just as like another grand prize. You get like two options here.
Yeah. I'd probably
I would
still go with
definitely
the
choose.
instrument.
I'd still choose the instrument because that'd be really cool. But some people are lazy and they don't want to play instruments anymore after being forced to compete against their.
For for me, I would if I won, I would want a bass clarinet, but I would want to learn how to play bass guitar.
All right.
That'd be possible.
Can I get a clarinet that I want to learn guitar? Wait a minute. So you don't even want to learn the instrument that you get? Yeah, correct.
For
Correct. I would like to learn another instrument, but receive this instrument.
I mean for me it's like I know how to play it. Like I would just need to get one. I mean, I'm guessing someone like me probably wouldn't go on the show. And if they would let me, I would probably fail at the brass section because I cannot understand how to play brass instruments. I've tried.
Neither can I. I'm
It's
bad at it.
it's
So
really
bad.
difficult.
You can't just blow. It doesn't work like that.
It
You
does
have to
not
do
work.
the little thing or whatever. I don't know if the mic even picked that up. I
Oh,
hope
it
it
did.
didn't.
Unless
Damn it.
you're my buddy Saki, who was the only person, the band director. Because when you go into band, they're like, hey, pick a few instruments you want to try. And she said he was one of the, I think, really the only person who played all three instruments perfect the first time he tried.
He got it.
Insane.
Just nailed it right like that. Hey, sometimes people are just naturally gifted. And that's what that's what we're hoping to find on this show. We are hoping to find those naturally talented and gifted individuals who have a penchant for learning instruments on the fly, and maybe you might discover a hidden talent within yourself that you didn't know that you had.
Yeah.
Oh, now let's see. Is there anything else we want to add to this in terms of maybe punishments or rewards if the people do if the contestants do well, like, oh, everybody who passed the flute section or the the woodwind section, you get to go down for the showing tonight of a woodwind symphony at this hall or whatever.
Or
So
like
you
a
get to go.
Broadway show. Like
Yeah,
once we're
you get
done.
to see a performance, a real performance of the category of music that you just got done with. So that way okay, this is what it's supposed to be like. This is what the application for what we just learned is.
And if they do like a string section and like with violins, it's like, oh, you get to hang out with, you get to go to a concert and VIP backstage pass for Lindsey Sterling. I don't know if you've ever heard of her, but she's very famous violinist.
Willie Nelson himself comes out and you get to hang out with Willie Nelson. Oh.
Um, Other than that, I thought of this idea from Lego Masters actually. Uh, they do like holiday events and then they bring back fan favorites and they build with celebrities. So it's like do like a fun little event before the finale, like bring celebrities on, and then you have to like try and teach them the instrument.
Yeah, it's an instrument that they are unfamiliar with, and then you both have to learn it.
Or it's like you're the best at this instrument, so you're going to try and teach them how to play that instrument.
And then, or either that, or you have to do an accompaniment with them in some
Yeah,
way with the instrument that you've chosen. Oh, that would be that would be hilarious.
I would love to see that. Like I know Keanu Reeves plays bass, but like find an instrument he has no idea how to play. I think that'd be
Harmonica.
hilarious.
You good with harmonica? Didn't think so. Come on in, brother. I got some lessons for you. You're gonna make like an old bluesy sounding band.
I think that's about it though.
So we'll just go through a little recap of everything that I wrote down, which is nothing. Right. So we've got band camp. 12 contestants come out to an island to learn a variety of instruments. The category is different each time. They must play well enough to advance. If they play in pairs, they either both advance or they're both eliminated. Groups of 3 or more, you have to vote the worst person out if you receive
If
a
you
failing
fail.
grade. You receive a failing grade. After each section, those who remain get to go see a performance of the section they just covered so that they know what it sounds like, what it's supposed to be. And we just continue to advance through. We maybe throw in a section where everybody's got the same one, and we got to see how that plays out. We've got the celebrity meetup where you have to play an accompaniment and or teach them how to play a different instrument that they know. And then you've got your grand prize winner for one person, and that is to get $50,000, and then you either get an instrument of your choice and tutoring lessons, or you get to follow your artist around if an artist so chooses to sponsor the event. We'll say that,
Yeah.
or whatever the show picks. You get like a free tour around the globe to different spots wherever they're performing for just like a little vacation. Get to see what you got, see what you do, see what you did. I think that'd be pretty fun. You know what? We'll put a caveat on the end just because I just thought of this. The show can have 2 winners if you both pick right the same instrument at the end. The thing is that if you both win, then you split the prize money. So you split the prize money, but you still both get to choose: do you want the instrument or do you want to go on the tour? We'll say that.
Okay.
Just to throw it out there, just to give them, it's like, hey man, we don't have to work against each other. We can work together as one. Because I mean, I'm not gonna lie, $25,000. That's still a lot of money. I'd still love to have $25,000.
Yeah. But I think
Well,
that
all right.
about does it. Now it is time for quotes.
Time for quotes. God, my mouse keeps turning off. Stop that.
Mine is by Jim Rohn. Time is more valuable than money. You can get more money, but you cannot get more time.
Yeah. Go through the whole time is money over greed squared formula. You ever seen that whole thing? I'll have to show that one to you sometime. Don't worry what I'm talking about. I'm speaking nonsense again. This is the BS
That's
part of the
regular.
BS buddies. Mine is by Lousy. What? L Laozi. Lousy. Little Lucy. Great acts are made up of small deeds.
Solid.
I don't know. Great performances are made up of individual notes. There, we made it music related for the video.
But thank you guys for BSing with us today. If you want to become a bud, subscribe today. It's free. It helps us out. It helps us to grow so we can pitch this Bandcamp idea to executives who actually could do it. And maybe we could be the hosts.
We will turn this into a real show. Mark our words.
You've heard it here first. But we will see you next time when we actually make it happen.
When I figure out how many different instruments are actually woodwind versus brass, because I apparently don't know anything, or why piano is considered percussion. But until then, just take her easy now.
They're considered strings.
I know. I want it to be misleading.